Olá, bom dia. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from Expats Portugal. How are you this morning? I'm just going to change my microphone setting. Lots going on, as I'm sure you can appreciate. These are, well, I'll have to use that word, won't I? Unprecedented times. We are moving into the second major lockdown here in Portugal, which we'll spend most of our time today focusing upon. Some suspecting, and you may know better than me already. I mean, this is the thing about the movable feast, the unfolding picture that is the pandemic restriction measures that are happening. Thank you very much. Cup of tea incoming. That's occurring here in Portugal right now is that things are a little bit confusing, and there's obviously the added complication if you're an expat. And we will do our no audio again. What is going on here today? Why is that happening? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I've just I've done what I think I need to do. I am getting some bon dias, but I'm also getting some messages to tell me that there is no sound. I did everything I thought to set up this morning, but obviously one of them was not set up the right sound for you. So I'm doing what I can. Oh, you can hear me now. That's great. All right. So can hear after refreshing, loud and clear on YouTube, Carl. Thank you so much, Jerry. Good morning to you, Jerry. Okay, so where was I? I was saying, yeah, the picture is a little bit confusing, and there's the added dimension, of course, of being an expat and not having a full and complete grasp of the Portuguese language. What we will do is our very best this morning to bring you up to date with the picture as far as we know. And of course, the other day, when after the storming of the Capitol in the United States, we dared to talk about that, and that came in under some sort of scrutiny and criticism for mentioning what was going on in America. Some saying it was this wasn't the place for doing that. Others saying this was absolutely the place for doing that. And of course, we have lots of American viewers and listeners for whom that's a very important issue indeed. And it's also an important issue, I think, for many people just watching what's going on around the world, taking the temperature of the political world right now. So if you do, from my point of view, what Expats Portugal is all about is hearing you and helping you. So that's what the next hour is about, essentially. And that's what we're generally about at Expats Portugal, hearing what you have to say, hearing what your questions are, what issues are coming up for you, and the second part of that, helping you to resolve those things. That's what we're all about here. That's what I see this show is about. So if you do need to talk about what's going on in the United States, the second impeachment of Donald Trump, and I think there is a connection and a context for that here on this show, then do that. But our main focus today will be on the latest lockdown measures, which come into effect from midnight tonight. So many of you are saying hello. So let's say hello back. Gail Lynn this morning. And I know, depending on which platform you watch on, you will not see the comments of other people, which occurred to me yesterday, strangely enough, after all this time of doing this. But yeah, obviously people are tuning in via Facebook and from YouTube. So I will unite you first with a bon dia from Gail Lynn. Paulo Simoes is also here with a bon dia. Marcos Valbon is here. Nick Steinman is here. Oh, Nick reminded me there, of course, to say what the day is and hopefully get it right today. It is Quinta-feira, 14 Janeiro today, for those of you who need a date stamp on the day. Mac, haven't heard from you for a while. Lovely to hear from you. Bon dia from a very sunny and cold Covilhã by the Serra da Estrela mountain range. Beautiful part of Portugal. And all those messages to say that you can hear me now. Thanks for that, for your executive production. Much appreciated. A new name, I think, there. Michael Schulze. All good from Michael, and bon dia to you. Good morning to Tony. Good morning over there. Remind us, Tony, where are you? Good morning to you, Mr. Druba from Nepal. Now in Sintra. Bon dia, Carl. All cool. And Louise of Solo 50 Plus Expats Portugal. Bon dia, loud and clear. Fantastic. Andy the Doc Thompson. He was a very popular chap yesterday, and rightly so. Really enjoyed talking to Andy, and we'll certainly have Andy back at some point. Bon dia de Leiria from Leiria in Portugal this morning. Good morning to you, Andy. Hope things are well in your house, in that I suppose, yes, you are a quarantined household over there, aren't you? So I hope all is well under your roof there. Marcus Velbon, bon dia. Elsa in North Wales, bon dia from another miserable, dark and wet North Wales. Someone's got to do it. Caroline from Moscow, bon dia. Joel Safiro, our real Portuguese man in the man cave. I think the man cave tomorrow night is going to be a very interesting discussion. And of course, we will roll back the rug, I think, and have another disco to dance our troubles away, possibly, after we've had a bit of a chat and a catch up in the virtual local pub, which is the Expat Man Cave. Another new name, Felice Pete. What a lovely name. A lovely name, handle to have on YouTube. Good morning to you, Happy Pete. And Michael Schultz is saying good morning. Islamabad, that's where Tony is. Wow, how is Islamabad? Are you in a cold part of Islamabad, or is all of all of Pakistan cold this morning? Bon dia from the nation with no functioning government, says Dorian. Functioning enough to impeach a president for the second time. I did hear, now we're on that subject, that there have been 4 impeachments in recent history, half of them down to Donald Trump. He's at half of the impeachments. We should also recognize, as somebody pointed out, that it didn't do Bill Clinton any harm. An impeachment, left office and remained a very popular character among many people. But that said, I think Donald Trump is still a very popular character among many of his 70 million or so voters. We should and have to remember that. All good, and thank you, says Andy the Doc Thompson. Carl, a small hint when saying Quinta, you say it like Quinta. I thought I did, Joel. This is the funny thing about Portuguese pronunciation. I often get people say you should say it like. I'm thinking, well, I do say it like that, but obviously not like that enough. So thank you, Joel. I'm not taking that personally. I take all the Portuguese pronunciation help I can get, I can assure you. Tomorrow, Friday, on the Good Morning Portugal show is when we do try to take a look at the language. That doesn't sound very committed, does it? Try and take a look. There is no try. But tomorrow we've got Jenny's back with us with a Feel Good Friday. But I think it would be useful, would it not, to do a little bit of Portuguese language tuition on how to order a takeaway, because when we get round to talking about the lockdown measures, that's part of it. The cafes and restaurants are closed again, but they are offering a takeaway service. And won't that be a breakthrough for you if you're an expat, to call a cafe or a restaurant with an order and do it in Portuguese? So come on, who's up for taking on that little challenge? And we'll do our best to provide you with the language support for doing that tomorrow. Deborah Davies is here. I'm a Brit who spent much time in the States. It breaks my heart seeing what's going on in America. They are certainly having a dark night of the soul. It's always darkest before the dawn, says Deborah. That's what I'm holding on to, else I might give up hope for a country that I love. Thank you, Deborah, for such an authentic and loving share there. That's what we're about here. Feel free to speak what's in your heart and mind this morning. For me, as long as it's respectful, legal, and appropriate to the conversation, I'm all for it. You know, I don't want to editorialize or shut people out, regardless of their views. You know, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, it's all good as far as I'm concerned. And we are a community, I think, that's demonstrated it's possible to have a difference of opinion and still be respectful towards each other. I will do my best to uphold that as we move forward. Before the dawn that you refer to there, Deborah, in these what appear quite often to be dark times. Bon dia from Lisboa, from Luisa Ordenas. Good morning to you, Luisa. How are you this morning? Lots of lovely comments. Thank you. That is what this is all about. We will get round to the weather and, of course, the reason I'm doing the weather is because I think that is part of the darkness before the dawn. Warmer weather is coming, folks, and I want to demonstrate and share that with you. And of course, yes, I'm going to do my best to give you an at-a-glance view, which some of you early birds will have seen on the screen. Pete, the unofficial ambassador of Castanheira de Pera, also sent me a very useful guide to what the exemptions are. And there are so many exemptions. It's so interesting. There are so many exemptions that it's almost like, well, what lockdown? But obviously, there's a massive restriction of movement. Teleworking. We're back to teleworking. You can't go out and about willy-nilly, and you can't go to work if you can telework at the moment. So there is a massive change again, but there are a lot of exemptions as well. Late this morning because I just spilled my tea all over the table. No good crying over spilt milk or tea, Gary, but glad you're here. Anyway,
Yeah, I sympathise with that. Nothing too serious, I hope. Not over your laptop or anything like that. Doreen, which of the several? I think that's referring to the comment Doreen made. Sorry, no, what comment did Doreen make? I've lost it now in the long grass of the comments. I'm confusing Doreen with Deborah this morning. Forgive me. Okay. And what I have to do now, because a lot of people talk to each other in the comments, so I have to make sure I'm not reading personal comments directed at each other. It is freezing in Islamabad. We're not alone here in Portugal then. Carl, where is the link for the wine club? We broadcast tonight at 9 o'clock. The wine club, and I've got Espumante, I've got a Portuguese fizz. It seemed the only right thing to do as we go into our second major lockdown here. Fita Azul is the fizz that I've chosen, and you can go out today. The lockdown restrictions kick in. I suppose it is, strictly speaking, it is shopping, so you could get it on your shopping trip anyway in the coming weeks. Your wine supplies, but it is tonight, so you need to go out today if you want to join us with the Fita Azul Reserva. And we broadcast on these same platforms pretty much. So we will be on YouTube with the wine tasting, and I'm leading that one tonight. I'm thinking the way it's going to go this evening is just I'm going to say, is everybody here? Good. Is your bottle chilled? Great. Have you got a glass ready? Good. Pop that cork. Let's drink it. That tastes nice. It's going to go pretty much like that tonight, but hopefully I'll have been able to find out a little bit more background about the Borges wine producer from where it comes in Gondomar. I'm a traitor to my local region here, the Bairrada region, I believe, with this one tonight. So yes, these same platforms, Andy, the Doc Thompson, for the Wine Club tonight. Do join us. It's often a lot of fun with the Wine Club ninjas. George Guimarães is here. Bon dia from Maputo, Mozambique. Amazing to hear from you in Mozambique this morning. George, how are you? What is life like over there? Do tell us. You are our eyes and ears, this wonderful community of the Good Morning Portugal show and Expats Portugal, keeping us updated. But, firsthand, it's all very well, isn't it, getting the news from editorialized news gatherers, and media people do all have their agendas. And of course, we have our agenda here. Nobody's without an agenda, are they? But I would like to think it's fabulous here how we get people tuning in from all over the world who give us their first-hand testimony and reports of how life is, and ask the questions you want to ask. And as I was saying before, probably when I couldn't be heard, our job here is to help you, to hear you and to help you with anything to do with Portugal as an expat community and in the English language. So Deborah says there's no functioning government in the UK either. Yes, it is very easy at the moment, isn't it, to be critical of government. I don't think any country is free of that right now. Okay, let's keep going. Jolin Porto, funny how Americans bend the government. Nixon was also impeached and he resigned. And the Orange Ape impeached 2 times and still president. Well, I think that's a matter of process, which I think is absolutely right, Joel. He had the vote for impeachment has taken place, but I don't think the hearing or prosecution part of that is in action. So of course he's still president for the time being, and with 9 days to go until the inauguration. But it's all part of the process, and at the moment it does seem very right. Right. That's a tautology, is it not? Very right. It is right and proper that due process be observed. I mean, that's why we're in this mess, isn't it? Is because of the questioning of due processes and democratic processes. Andy, lol, I use Glovo or Uber Eats right now. That's a cheat, Andy. I mean, that is, of course, what you can do if you live in a metropolitan area like La Area that has Uber Eats or Glovo, a delivery system. And of course, it's better than starving to do that, isn't it? But tomorrow we are going to do our best to do a bit of vocab on ordering a takeaway from your local cafe or restaurant, which will be closed from midnight tonight, I suspect. We should do a Zoom language practice and role play some ordering food scripts. What could possibly go wrong, Louise? Do you think tomorrow? Oh, is this a sort of a separate group? I'm all for it. I mean, I would really encourage spin-off Zoom groups of people practicing the language. So yeah, definitely a great idea. Russia and China must be loving this. What's going on in the US, says Gary. Warm weather needed, says Joel. And Owen Lloyd Martin, bon dia from a chilly Vaquinhas this morning. So we'll come back to some more of your comments after we've had a quick look at that weather, which Joel thinks should be warmer. Let's go check it out, shall we, on the expatsportugal.com weather pages. Here we go. Lisbon, 9 degrees, scattered clouds in the capital. Is a description of the weather there. We will, of course, be talking to Daniel Reis tonight of Reis Pelicano, the law firm, about citizenship. So, you know, I know there are immediate challenges and dramas in the country at the moment with the lockdown, and we will talk about that, of course. But I think it's really important to keep the vision and the hope alive, keep that Portuguese pilot light lit, as we call it. And some people will, of course, be talking about citizenship beyond residency. And our expert, Daniel Reis, is with us tonight from Reis Pelicano, the law firm, to talk about that. Join us, and you can join us VIP. You jump the queue if you're a premium member. Let me put the details for doing that on the screen. If you're a premium member of Expats Portugal, you, of course, jump the queue for that. So let me just put the details of how to do that. It's pretty straightforward, actually. expatsportugal.com/upgrade is all you'll need. So, yes, to be true VIP, to come to the front of the virtual queue and be let in by the bouncers, well, Astrid, you need to become a premium member to discuss all aspects of becoming a Portuguese citizen tonight from 7:30 on that webinar. 13 degrees the high to look forward to today in Quinta-feira, the 14 de Janeiro today, of course, and 7 degrees the low. So things are warming up. We can see that, can't we? In a lovely day forecast on Saturday. The weekend's looking good in the capital. 14 degrees the high and 15 on Sunday. It will be cloudy on Sunday in the capital, but look at that. The temperatures are rising, folks. Even better when you put it in American, in Fahrenheit, 57 degrees. That sounds really great. Porto, 1 degree and misty this morning in Porto, as Joel may well be able to attest. 11 degrees the high there today, and a couple of 12-degree and sunny days tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. And the temperature's edging up in Porto over the weekend and into next week, 13 and 14 degrees to look forward to. And really good news for the part of the country that I'm in, Coimbra. Broken clouds, 7 degrees currently, a low of 1. Started off at 1 degrees. I could feel that this morning. 12 degrees the high today, but going to 15 tomorrow, 14 on Saturday, 16 and 17 Sunday and Monday, respectively. So, yes, temperatures really are beginning to rise now. And depression Filomena, not that one, the weather pattern called Filomena. She's on her way, I believe. I think we've seen the back of her, and giving way to 14 degrees the high in Faro today, 12 degrees tomorrow, 14 on Saturday. Nice weekend by the look of it in Faro. And a good Monday to look forward to at 14 degrees with a bit of cloud returning next week, but a high of 17 looking towards the middle of next week. So temperatures definitely rising. Let's see if there are any minus temperatures around the rest of the country, shall we? Yeah, Castelo Branco started off at -1 this morning, but I can see, in Andy, the docks area rising to 16 next week, Santarém, where it can be really hot in the summer, 14s and 15s next week. Looking pretty good, folks, I have to say. Guarda has seen some of the coldest weather, but even there, that's looking to warm up, albeit from a -3 low currently in Guarda, -2 low tomorrow, but rising to an almighty 10 degrees on Sunday. So there you go. There is our Expats Portugal weather for you this morning. Back to a few comments before we really get into the lockdown restrictions and how life will be affected. And then he said infected. Well, that's also true, isn't it? In Portugal, in the second major lockdown that we're moving into from midnight tonight. So same with exemptions on self-isolation flying back to the UK. I stopped reading them after page 10. My goodness, it is very confusing. But we are going to do our best to simplify. Which of the several countries with no functioning government the doc is talking to Doreen there, the divided states of America. Okay, so comments and conversation continuing in the comments about America there. Bon dia todos from Fiona Worrell. Good morning to you, Fiona. Where you been? Lovely to have you back. Deborah Carvalho dos Souza, freezing morning up here in Porto as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for your on-the-spot weather reporting. Good morning from Vera Rodriguez. And good morning, Hank's here, everybody. Good morning from America. Great to hear. Safe and well there, Hank, in California. And of course, we are hearing from Vera Rodriguez in New Jersey. Good morning from New Jersey, from Vera. Greetings, comrades, from Hank. The warm weather, says Marcos, is going to be next week, but the strong winds and heavy rain are also forecast. I didn't want to talk about that, Marcos, but seeing as you mentioned it, there you go. Yeah, the weather is warming up next week, but Marcos is aware of some strong winds and heavy rain. Morning, says Valerie. Thank you, Marcos. Morning, quite overcast on the coast this morning over there in San Martino de Porto. Feeling a bit sad here. Oh, sorry to hear that, Valerie. At the office, having to shut it all down again. Absolutely, I bet you are. But all set up to continue at home, and lots of buyers still inquiring. But a bit of a sad day for me. Stay safe, all, says Valerie to everybody else. Yeah, you've only just opened up there, haven't you, Valerie? Now you've got to shut down again. Oh dear. Antonio F. Hank Stelica, morning. Isn't it still night over there? Yeah, Hank is on his treadmill at 1 a.m. I don't know if it's a really early start or a late finish for Hank. We haven't found that out yet. Hank saying about the second impeachment of Donald Trump, there's a chance he will be convicted this time. Starting a coup is kind of serious. Yeah, you can say that again. Okay. Deborah Orange Ape, I call Boris an albino orangutan. Come on, guys, you can do, but you're better than this. I can't help feeling I'm being unfair to animals now. That's Deborah Davis. A little bit of letting off of steam, I think, with these rather personal names for our esteemed and beloved politicians. Hank Stelica saying we have a serious fascist movement going on here. It's very bad. There's Hank's appraisal from California. 4,000 plus dying per day from COVID. A fascist coup attempt. Can't wait to get to Portugal. Yeah, and that appears to be the light at the end of your tunnel, Hank. And I always think as well, yes, we can see that these terrible numbers, we can see the terrible behavior of some people. But let's also remember, there are a lot of people in this world who are behaving wonderfully right now. Millions, if not billions of people who are going about their business, doing their best, who aren't in the drama and the sort of accentuated places to which the media eye is drawn. Lots of good people doing good things, going about their business, doing their best to support each other in these difficult times. So let's not forget, and you know, I would like to think we are among them, those particular people. So let's not forget that when things can get a bit emotional and dramatic. Let's forget that there are an awful lot of good people in the world as well, doing really good things that keep the world going in good times and bad. All right. So, Carl, did you check Braganza's lowers for today? -5. I didn't go there. Too cold to even look at that. -5 in Braganza up there. These are the hardiest people, I think, of Portugal up there. In those northern mountains, what would they be called? What's the collective noun for people from Braganza? The Braganzadenses. But thank you for that, Antonio. -5. Good heavens. Right. Will Thompson's here, everybody. I've got to choose between some guerrilla construction and repair today, or jail, says Will, with his larger than life approach. Strange times. How did it come to this? Feels much warmer this morning. No frosting on the bedroom window. Is that the inside or the outside, Will? That's been 2 or 3 weeks, was it not? Thought it was supposed to be snowing. Intriguing message, but that's always the case with our friend Will Thompson, isn't it? Deborah Davis, we are not cold now. We can turn heaters on without tripping the switch. There you go. That's a very Portuguese problem. From my research into living in Portugal, nowhere did I read that you can have 3 levels of electricity into your house. It's a revelation when you find that out. Welcome. A man came yesterday and did something to the fuse box. I can keep turning the electric kettle and the toaster on at the same time now. Because I can. And she is. And she's probably going to dry her hair at the same time as well to really test that system. Stay warm as best you can. I know people are very cold. Absolutely. Let's find out who is cold and the homeless in our society. Let's get them what they need. A house, for one thing, obviously, but blankets and food. This is the thing, isn't it, to keep that going on a very local level. And I know a lot of you do that as well. João Beira, good morning. What is the exit plan from the communist and socialist medical dictatorship, João? That's quite a big question to address. My goodness. But we have to stay at home on the weekend, don't we? Please explain the lockdown. Okay, let's move on to that. We weren't here in Portugal last March, April, and all the articles I found last night referred to the previous lockdown. Okay, so let's do that. We'll come back to your comments. Thank you for all of them. Really appreciate it. I have something to share with you on screen, which is from our wonderful friends at Safe Communities Portugal. Here it is. I've posted it up on Expats Portugal in the forum there as well. So if you're not already a member, it's free to join expatsportugal.com to get access to the forum there. And this, I guess you might struggle to see on the screen. It's an A4 document, but I'll read through it anyway. And I have shared it. I've taken the liberty of borrowing it from Safe Communities Portugal. I'm sure they won't mind. They've been amazing in these last 10 months, and this is their translation of the Portuguese document that looks very similar that came from the government yesterday. So I'll read through it now. This is the simplified version, and we'll go into some of the exemptions that Pete sent me this morning as well. Ordinarily on a Thursday, it's places and spaces, taking a look around Portugal, tantalizing you, titillating you with wonderful places to go to in Portugal. Would have started the show with a short, with a wonderful place to visit. It just doesn't seem appropriate right now. This is where our focus should be, I think, in getting genned up on what we can and can't do from midnight tonight. Okay, so I thought it was starting from midnight last night. It actually starts from midnight on the 15th tomorrow, and the translation of the slogans that governments are so keen on, control the pandemic, protect people, is the way forward in terms of the Portuguese narrative. Home collection, which is a strange, this is what that means, as far as I understand it, is the home situation. You have a duty to remain at home except for authorized journeys. So that's probably the foremost consideration, isn't it? Currently, from midnight tonight, in the second major lockdown, you have a duty to remain at home except for authorized journeys. And of course, there will be a list of what constitutes an authorized journey somewhere on the interweb. And of course, if you have to stay at home, what goes hand in hand with that is that teleworking is now compulsory again. So working from home is compulsory. However, daycare, schools and universities are open. They will remain open. So one of the authorized journeys, of course, for parents, if you're taking your kids to school, is to be taking your kids to daycare, schools, or probably not taking your kid to university. I don't know. So the schools and daycare centers and universities are remaining open. Public services by prior appointment only. This comes up, of course, for expats and people wishing to expedite their emigration processes. So prior appointment only in public services, and a lot of it, I suspect, being done via email. So bear that in mind. Don't rock up at the city shops, the one-stop shops, the Loja de Cidade, I think that's what they call it, isn't it? Or SCF or anywhere like Finanzas like that. Prior appointment only, folks, at public service centres and bureaucratic offices. Doctors' offices, dentists and pharmacies will remain open, so therefore an authorised journey to and from those as well will allow you to leave home, going to the doctor, the dentist or a pharmacy. Religious ceremonies, they are allowed in accordance with the DGS, that's the Health Department of Portugal. In terms of the religious ceremonies, yes, they will have the go-ahead, but in accordance with health service rules, the DGS. Trade, all trades, and this is the situation Valerie finds herself in, of course, at Spencer Beck's over there in San Martino de Porto. Just opened an office, now it's got to close again, except for authorized establishments, the likes of doctors, dentists and pharmacies, and a few other exceptions, of course, which we will go into in just a moment. Hope you are keeping up with this. Andy, says Antonio, is Loja do Cidadão. the citizen shop. That's what I was trying to say earlier on. So let's go back to our at a glance thing here that is on expatsportugal.com in the forum. Posted it up last night for you to take a look at. And strangely, my WhatsApp app has sparked up, obscuring my view. Have you changed from WhatsApp to Signal or Telegram in these recent days? I know a lot of people are. Sorry, back to the lockdown measures. Cultural establishments closed. Just a one-word solution to that for the time being. All cultural establishments closed. So no partying or boogieing or anything of that kind in cultural establishments, nightclubs, clubs, social clubs, etc. So yes, trades closed except for authorized establishments. Grocery shops and supermarkets can stay open, okay, but there is a maximum capacity limited to 5 people per 100 square meters. Do not worry, you don't have to take your ruler out, your tape measure with you. Our experience, obviously, from the last lockdown was that the supermarkets were all over this with security and door people making sure of that. But yes, grocery shops and supermarkets will stay open. So where you can get your essential supplies of food, groceries, and household items, of course. Restaurants, bars, and cafes, however, only via takeaway and delivery. And that's why tomorrow we're going to do some vocab on the old para lavar, the takeaway situation. Tomorrow, Friday, here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Cultural establishments closed. Sorry, I jumped ahead with that. Sports, gyms, pavilions, and other sports venues are closed. Individual exercise in the open air is permitted. National teams and first senior division will go ahead, but without the public. The football must go on, even if the Fado can't. Those 3 Fs, of course, that a taxi driver once told me about that really sum up Portugal: football, Fado, and Fatima. Only with DGS rules, and that's only for ceremonies. I'm sure Fatima is closed as a visitor, tourist attraction at the moment. The football, yes, going ahead there, but without the public. And Fado closed. You'll have to listen to your Fado online if you're a Fado fan. The courthouses, finally, on this, in terms of these 12 areas of life, the courthouses will remain open. The law must go on. And oh goodness, what's happened now? I've lost. Oh yeah, we're back again. Stay at home. General rule then: stay at home. Limit contacts to the household. Reduce your journeys to the absolute essentials. Wear a mask. Keep social distancing. Wash your hands and comply with respiratory etiquette. What a lovely turn of phrase that is. So comply with respiratory etiquette. So those are your general rules. I will repeat that one more time. Stay at home. Limit contacts to the household, your own household. Reduce journeys to the absolute essential. Wear a mask. Keep social distancing. Wash your hands and comply with respiratory etiquette. So there you go. That is it at a glance. If you want to see that, you can find it on the Expats Portugal forum on a posting that I put up there yesterday, last evening. Okay. Let's go to your comments again. Thank you for all of these. Great to see a few old friends back here with us this morning. Hendrik Lamar, good morning to you. And hold on, where were we? Kathleen Gimblett, I think, yes, I hope that brings you up to date, Kathleen. I hope that's useful. Fiona Worrell saying, I had my grandkids staying for a few days, so no piece to watch live. It was fantastic to see them, though. And so glad they escaped from UK on Christmas Eve. How lovely is that, Fiona, to be reunited with grandkids and the extended family. Nothing but love for Carl and our friends in the chat room. Thank you, Hank. A nice point of view, Carl. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do here, Hank, and long may it continue. Bon dia, Carl, from Hendrik Lamar. Good morning to you in Devon in the UK. And Antonio F has a summary here. Kathleen, basically, stay home, leave only for medical reasons, or buy food, or to go to work. Most businesses are closed. Teleworking, of course, there, Antonio F. You got to work from home if at all possible. And the Bragarense are the people from Bragança, or is that? It says Brassa. I think that's a typo, isn't it? I think the Bragarense. Or the Antonio F says the Brigantinos. That's a nice way of putting it as well, isn't it? Okay, and Kathleen, you're asking, does it start tonight or tomorrow? It starts from midnight tonight. Okay. This is all in effect from the 15th, and as Antonio is telling you there, 2400 tonight, midnight. 1 minute past midnight is generally how they tend to do it. Interestingly, the notary we have an appointment with is still open, so lawyers' offices, I guess as an extension of the courtroom situation, and it is Bracarenses, São Osh de Braga. Very specialist there. Hendrik saying we've started our minibus to camper conversion and are going to come to Portugal as soon as we can. I do hope you're YouTubing that. That will be of interest to many people. And you must bear in mind, Hendrik, as well, that the wild camping regulations, they've become more stringent. You'll have to be careful where you park up. Little car parks, I think, remain quite safe. Some parts of Spain had minus 25 over the past few days. So let's not moan about being cold too much. Minus 25 in Spain. What is going on? What's that about? Thank you, Gary. For the Siberian people, can you imagine if you'd spilt your tea in minus 25, you could have just peeled it off the table and no harm done. For the Siberian people, minus 5 is not very cold. Andy, I thought it started last night. Me too. My biggest retirement problem, remembering which day of the week it is in any language. Absolutely true, Doc. It is, just let me repeat, quinta-feira today, Thursday in Portugal, and these measures come in at midnight tonight. I would agree with you, Hank, here. This sentiment, schools and universities being open makes no sense. Let me just have a quick sip of tea while we consider that. And whilst anyone would like to make a defence of schools and universities staying open, bear with me just one moment. Oh, that's good. And do forgive the crosswind of the fan heater. Just trying to stay warm here. Yeah, why are schools and daycares staying open at the moment? If we're, I mean, I understand from my point of view of thinking that in many ways, this sort of social cure of lockdown is worse than the problem sometimes, the original problem sometimes. On that point of view, you could say, let's keep the schools and let's keep the kids educated, and let's not let this affect us too much. But if we are going to lock down to minimize transmission, then it would make a lot of sense, would it not, to close the schools and universities if this is all about minimizing transmission and infection. I guess we've got to decide which it is. Are we trying to keep things open and keep the economy going, or are we trying to shut things down to slow the transmission of the virus? You can't have it both ways, can you? Hank is asking, is dental care covered under the public health care system? I think to some extent, yes, but you will, as is the way in most neoliberal capitalist democracies now, you may well get quicker and more comprehensive care if you go private, and it's not expensive to do that here in Portugal, Hank. Kids, stay out of schools. I don't know if that's a message from Marcos, if he's trying to sort of rabble-rouse the kids. Stay out. You can't be telling kids that, Marcos. They'll just do what, on that occasion, kids will do what you tell them to do if you're telling them to stay out of school. Yes, the Loja dos Cidadãos, the citizen shop, the one-stop shop. Great system, actually, in Portugal, where you can find all of these things under one roof, but by appointment only at the moment. Carol Chiquita, good morning to you, Carol Chiquita. What does an authorized journey to the pharmacist entail? Well, that would be to get a vaccination, I suspect, if that's what's going to be happening in Portugal, and also to pick up your supplies. If you've got any medical supplies, that is an authorized journey. It was for me last time when I went out to get pain relief from the local pharmacist in the last lockdown. You can go to pharmacies. Carol, hope that helps there. Let's have a look here. Hank is being told by Antonio F. Officially, there aren't many dentists in the public system, so people usually use private dentists. And I think within the spirit of a socialist state, people aren't allowed to suffer indefinitely and without care. So I think that this is what's being said here, is that there is some public provision of dentistry, but I think most people are moving towards private dentists, as Antonio is saying there. Will Thompson, was frost condensation on the inside of the window? So short version, the other guy received some rather frustrating news. For some reason, he went to climb a pole, but the foundation was poor. It tipped over and took out some of the overhead Christmas lights. Oops, got a big bag of cement. Oh, so this is I can never tell until I sort of dig a bit deeper into Will's comments whether this is metaphorical or actual. I thought he was making some sort of, metaphor, parable there about a pole falling over or whatever. But no, this is what he has to do today. I think he's got to repair a pole, an electricity pole. Be careful, Will. Got a bag of cement, etc. If I can get sand, I can go and fix it. But maybe not be allowed to out with this lockdown to go and fix it. Are we allowed to go out on the street? I think you've heard what I've said there, Will. Essentials only. And if you can justify that repair there as essential, you'll probably be okay. Your call, sir. Doc, do you agree wine is good for you? Drinking responsibly, of course. That's a great question, Gary. Looking for some sort of justification, I suspect, there. Peter Bleach, good morning to you, Peter. Lighting up our lives this morning. Any idea? Thank you, Pete. Doing my best. I think I am a little bit sort of muted and tired. I had more sleep last night than I have for a long time. And I posted on Facebook, please stop it, America. I'm trying to go to bed here. I couldn't believe on events as they were unfolding last night. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm uncertain and unclear. And this has an effect on me as well. And I'm doing my best to dig deep and be resourceful and find whatever it takes to get through this. But, I take great comfort in knowing that I do this and that I have all of you in this community to help with that. But thank you. Doing my best to light up lives, Peter. Wow. Any idea on how the lockdown will affect residents moving house? Now, as I understand it, that's pretty essential, isn't it? If it's to do with where you live and it's your home and shelter and your abode, that's pretty essential. And I'm sure, if you possibly can move outside of lockdown, that's going to be preferable. But if you've got to move, you've got to move, I think, if that is what you're asking there, Peter. Just enough time for a romp around the woods before lockdown. Brilliant. I think Hendrik has posted his YouTube channel for the campervan conversion process that's going to see them come over and join us in Portugal. Can't wait to see you guys again. Antonio F, look at this. In the mountains in Spain, they registered, I saw this, minus 34 a few days ago. So Portugal is quite warm in comparison. Thank you for that, Antonio F. Thank you, Gary, for that. I will tell my kids to stop moaning. It could be minus 34 or minus 25. Thank you for that. Schools and universities is a terrible idea. Okay, yeah, because you're in the teaching business, aren't you, Peter? You would know about this. It is what has made the death rate here over 1,500 in a day. So why on earth are the Portuguese government keeping schools and universities open? We ask ourselves. The polar vortex jet stream thingy is warping again out of the norm. It's sheer luck whether the kink that drops way south hits us. Okay, so we are subject to the polar vortex, folks. We are such a learned community here, none more than Will, of course. So there's a kink in the polar vortex that sometimes comes our way, or other places like America. Meanwhile, excessive hot air, is he going back to politics again? Excessive hot air pushes way too far up to the Arctic. Can expect a blue ocean event any year now, an ice-free Arctic, says Will, who knows about these things. João Beira, makes a lot of sense to lock down those who can work, especially small business owners, and allow students to move freely. This is how you enslave population 101. Oh, okay. It makes sense with an agenda of that kind. Is that what you're saying there, João Beira? Sharon responding to our earlier question from who was that? To Carol Chiquita, prescriptions, yes. I think as well, if you need to go to the pharmacy to get pain relief, even if it's not a prescription, if you need, the pharmacists in Portugal are amazing. They sell all kinds of stuff. You might need to refresh your condom supply. Is that essential? In many ways, and in a Catholic country, there's another. I don't know why I said that. I'm just trying to lighten the mood a little bit. But it's true to say that the pharmacies in that I've amused myself far too much with that puerile comment. I do apologise. Pharmacists in Portugal do have the most amazing things in a whole range of sort of disability infirmity aids in the shop there. all sorts of things. So I think it would go beyond prescriptions, Sharon. I'm confused. You're in good company, Deborah. My landlord came over Tuesday to warn us of the lockdown starting midnight on Wednesday. It is midnight tonight. It is now midnight tonight now, Thursday, like in... this kicks in. These new measures kick in tonight. But if you want to be sure, so as it were, see it as happening from last night, which some people, some sources were saying it all started at midnight this morning, of Thursday. But certainly from the 15th, from tonight, it's all kicking in, the second major lockdown and all the restrictions I've gone through heretofore. Yes. That's why I wasn't here yesterday. I had an appointment with the finance department to pay the tax on my hoopty. What is that? What is that? I don't even know what that is, Joel. But well done being a responsible citizen and getting to finance us. I hope you took it in small change. You seem like the sort of chap who might take some pleasure in taking your tax payments in small change and dumping it at the citizen shop there. Well, hey, Carl, talk about neoliberal capitalist economies. We could start a philosophical economy. Well, we've got our economist. Our economist will be joining us on Tuesday, I hope. I'm organising that at the moment. We will be talking to a Sam drinking economist to understand and to debunk a little bit the whole thing about how some of us hark on about the agrarian past. You included, Joel, of Portugal, and moan a little bit about the EU. Kate Gimblett will be joining us sometime soon to talk about this, as she is a professional economist. So she will be debunking some of our more romantic theories, and I'm sure we'll have a thing or two to say about neoliberal capitalist economies. You don't hear that phrase everywhere you go, do you? It's true. Peter Bleach, the mistake is that the economy and the virus are the same thing. There are few businesses left in the UK because they opened up too early. Look at Singapore, Wuhan, and Australia. Okay, point taken there, Pete. And yes, Kate Gimblett, here she is. I read there are approximately 400 schools with CV-19 outbreaks this week. Schools are vectors of virus transmission, according to most evidence, so keeping them open is a considerable risk. You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? So it looks like we may call you Kate among friends here. That was confusing me a bit, the Kate Kathleen thing, but that's the official on-screen title is Kathleen, and I suspect we can call you Kate. Andy the Doc says wine is great for you in moderation. Excellent. And I did see a very funny what's it called? Not the confirmation, the Catholic blessing. It was a little blister pack that had a bit of bread and a little shot of wine in it. Forgive me, I've seen your moment on remembering what that's called. I'm sure a Catholic among us will tell us what that is called. Gary Austin asking the important questions, for sure he is. He can be relied upon for that. Join me and him and Frank, Persian Frank, at the Expat Man Cave tomorrow night as we get a little bit more blokey and talk about some things in a more blokey way. Okay, Mike, another new name here, Mike Raven. Hey, are we allowed to take care for service and not to be fixed? I don't know what that means, Mike. Please elaborate. If they tried to force me back in the classroom, I'd resign the next day, says Hank. In moderation, going back to the wine and whether it's good for you, is like reasonably is down to definition by the courts. Yes, in moderation. He's not saying much more, is he, on that? Leaving it to individual interpretation there. And Sharon, grateful, I think, for Sharon saying yes about my comments, possibly about pharmacies. Please, can the people, sorry, didn't catch the name, doing the campervan conversion, post the YouTube channel again. It's up there in the comments, I think. But Hendrik, if you're still here, please do post that for Louise. Okay, so we are talking about condoms this morning. Condom supply second only to oxygen. It's a doctor's orders. What can I say? Can we still go for country and beach walks to get exercise in our municipality during lockdown in central Portugal? I think not. Okay, I don't think that's. I think you can go out and exercise individually, like, walk around the block and obviously go in your garden and so on. And you may be able to stretch that to a household exercising together. But I think jumping in the car and driving a long way to the countryside or for a beach walk might be frowned upon. Burning too much rubber, Carl. I don't know what you mean. Carl Hoopty, is the junk falling into rust? So his Hoopty is his car. So he went and paid his car tax. Okay, got that now. That's a new one on me. Kate, yes, you can. I think we're all coaching each other in the comments now. Will Thompson, flights to the Azores for only a tenner, so I've been told. That's good old-fashioned pre-2020 type news. It really is, isn't it? It really is. Oh man. Or perhaps after perhaps third after wine. So this is the new. So forget about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is Doc Thompson's hierarchy of needs. What has he got so far? He's got. I forget now. Can you summarize that for us, Doc, in the comments? Yes, you can call me Kate. Oh, it's good to know. I mean, we shouldn't take liberties, should we? It's Google that decided to call me my full name on here, probably from mining my financial data. Sinister. Yes, of course. And now, of course, with all this talk of wine and condoms on the show and camper vans, watch out, folks. Your adverts are going to be influenced. And can I try this as well to see if this does anything in your house? Google. And I'll try this as well. Alexa, tell me if that stimulated any activity technologically in your house. Sorry. Stealth camper van conversions will work better in Portugal. Says Joe, yeah, it is. It's a matter of some concern at the moment, isn't it? The regulations around camper vans, not just parking them up overnight, but what is permissible. Do be aware of that, Hendrik, with your conversion. Yeah, and as Gary is saying here, Henry, converted vehicles here can be a nightmare to matriculate. The clue is in matriculation. Whenever there's a complicated word, like impeachment, it often covers a multitude of sins. Have you noticed that? Whenever, like furlough, all of these, why are people using these weird words? It must be to cover something up, mustn't it? BA says, Jim, good morning, Gemini, can talk their flight back to the UK. No flights from Faro to London. Can anyone tell me why total lockdown? Is this on flights? There is a new strain of the virus, I understand, Gemini, emanating in Brazil. Because of the association between Portugal and Brazil and the neighboring countries of Brazil, the UK has taken a view, and probably will, and the government will too, and look at unfavorably, I'm sorry, on flights from Portugal again. Stand by and wait for that. Another bit of information coming through. Hank says, yeah, Maslow is definitely missing a level, the wine level, and of course the Wi-Fi level. Oh, and here we go. To summarize then, this is the Doc Thompson's new hierarchy of needs. 1, oxygen, 2, wine, 3, condoms. That sounds like a great night out, which you can't do at the moment, obviously. Sorry, spell check. We're allowed to take our cars to the garage for MOTs and to be fixed. Oh, okay. Mike Raven, if it's essential, I think you've got grounds there, haven't you? If your car is going to become illegal, you either need to keep it off the road or you need to get it in for a check for its MOT. So, Joel, do you know the answer to that? Is that seen as essential, taking your vehicle into the testing station? I from a personal point of view, I think you can make the case, can't you? If your motor vehicle is going to become illegal by not being tested, then it would seem a good idea to take it in. Hank, damn car, Alexa wants to know. It worked. It worked. Google, Alexa. I'm causing trouble all over the world now. We live in the country and it's a shorter drive to the beach than the food stores. Okay, Kate, go ahead. It's surely safer to walk on the beach than in a continent. It's true. It's true. That's one of those grey areas. But, and one that we all have to kind of take our legal lives in our hands with, because I also see that some fines are doubling in Portugal. There was talk of that. They are raising the fines, which is a way of, I guess, getting people to comply. So be careful. But yes, it's about being able to make the case, isn't it, in a simple way, when should you find yourself conversing with any law enforcement. And Hendrik says, hi, Gary, we won't be moving there and it just visiting. Okay, fair enough. That's a blow to the Airbnb industry with the size of your family, Hendrik. I woke up Michelle's Alexa. Isn't that great fun? I won't do it too often, but I will do it occasionally, I can assure you. When we move, we will sell it before leaving. Okay, Hendrik. So there may be a really good camper van conversion available for sale. Make a note of Hendrik's details there. Sapphira, this so easily becomes an hour-long show. We'll conclude in just a moment, folks. Let's get to the bottom of your comments. Like I said, you must be heard and you must be helped. I don't know what that is in Latin, but it is the motto of the Good Morning Portugal show and of Expats Portugal. Converted or kit cars, vehicles suffer from the same syndrome. Cash to pay to state. Yes, it's all about the money. Carol, what if you live near the beach? You can still walk. Yeah, private exercise is permissible. Individual not private that sounds weird. Individual exercise, yes, there are grounds to go for exercise. And again, like I say, if you come into contact with law enforcement, you need to be able to make a case of some sort, don't you? And obviously, be wearing your mask and be socially distanced and have a translation possibly of what it is you're trying to say. Be prepared, folks. Are hours restricted to when you can? I don't know of any restrictions that are time-based with that. But if you're seen going out 7 times a day to the beach for your so-called exercise, that could people could smell a rat. We have 2 new strains in the US in an article I was reading, says Hank. Thank you for that good news, Frank. MOTs in Portugal, either appointment or like the previous lockdown is to postpone. Okay, so there are postponements, but you want to get a paper trail on that, don't you? You want to get an email saying, proving that postponement is allowed, or you have an appointment to go to in writing. So I hope that helps for you there. That was Mike, wasn't it? Mike Raven for you. Stealth camper vans can invalidate your insurance, something else to be aware of. During last lockdown, we couldn't take our cars to their annual inspection. So there you go. Its deadline was moved forward. That was a good move then. Excellent. Hank thinks I've discovered a new superpower. Turning on people's digital surveillance systems is what I'm going to call them. Kate, there are 2 new strains of the virus in Ohio alone. The mutations are sadly happening all over. The epidemiologists are not sure if existing vaccines will be losing their efficacy as a result. And some are saying also, aren't they, that the actually having had the virus is as good as getting the vaccine. But isn't that the whole basis of vaccines and inoculation anyway? Thank you very much. And look, you can rely on a medic, can't you, to know his Latin. Audiri debet et portet et ipsi adjuvare. To hear and to help. Unless he's got me cursing and swearing in Latin there inadvertently, you rascal. You must be heard and you must be helped. Check him out with his grasp of Latin. Also, I wonder if he's got spidery handwriting as well to completely fulfill the doctorly stereotype, knowing Latin, having a hierarchy of needs. And drinking wine. Awesome, thanks. Just found your show yesterday, says Mike. Glad to be of help. Yes, you must be heard, you must be helped. Important question. Will there be a dance party this Friday night? Doreen, would you like one? If the answer is yes, there will be. We will roll back the rug and we'll have a disco after the man cave. Yes, let's do it tomorrow night. I'll just say yes now. We will be dancing again tomorrow. Don't want to double book my busy in-home lockdown social calendar. Yeah, we need to get that news in quick, don't we? So you don't get double booked, obviously. Yes, we're dancing tomorrow night. Carl, no paper trail. The month of the plate of the car in Portugal, if it's within the month of the confinement, it's an automatic postpone. There you go, Mike. More information on that. And Henry is sending me private pictures of the van. Glad to hear it. Folks, it's 10 o'clock. We should go about our business of twiddling our thumbs at home. And we'll see you again tonight, 7:30, with Daniel Reis of Reis Pelicano, who will be talking to us about becoming a citizen of Portugal. This is post-residency, of course, or the logical evolution of your residency. All questions answered about that tonight. A nice light at the end of the tunnel, I'm sure you'll agree. Citizenship of Portugal, how to go about that from top lawyer and knowledge base, walking knowledge base on these things. Daniel Reis of Reis Pelicano. Premium members will jump to the front of the queue for that. So sign up at expatsportugal.com and see you at 7:30 for that. And then at 9 for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, where I'll be popping me cork and sharing the Fita Azul Reserva Espumante with you tonight. Looking forward to that. Latin essential to get into med school in my day. Bad writing also compulsory. Farewell, everyone, from Hank. Have a good day. Good community over here. Bon dia, says Joao Beira. Good morning to you, Joao. And great to make your acquaintance. And later all, cheers, is what Joel was saying. And I'll say that too, as it's 1:01 past 10. See you tonight or see you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. Hasta luego. Abrazos, beijinhos.